All right, welcome back to another episode of Inside Out Universe. Today I have a very special guest. It's my friend Adrian. Adrian and I actually met at school, and then, we mingled a little bit. I found out he has a really dope story. He's a really cool person, so I was like, hey, let's do a podcast together.
Yeah, why
Hi,
not?
how are you?
I'm good.
Are you looking at my hands?
Huh?
I'm an Italian guy. I talk with my hands.
I know, right? Yeah, Papa John's. You know?
Yeah, exactly. How you doing?
Good. Tired, but that's what it is, right? In the life of.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
What did you do today?
Got another tattoo, like I do every other day.
Nice. Which one? Let me see.
I just not cover up, but fixing this.
Oh yeah,
one
you're
up.
redoing your tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
What is your experience as a tattooed lawyer?
It's fine, because I mean, all the tattoos I got them to a certain place where if I wear a suit, you don't see anything, right?
Yeah.
So it's fine. And then if I have to sign up like a major client, for example, like I'll just put like tattoo makeup behind my ears.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Have you ever had anybody, like even maybe somebody that you, like one of your employers or something, mention something about your tattoos?
No, they just ask me questions and stuff, but like they're not really in a position where they can, try to like diss me, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. Or judge me.
So they've never commented on it?
They commented on my dermal piercing.
Oh, what did you say about that? What was the comment?
They're like, oh, how does that stay on your face?
No, I hate when they ask questions like that. Okay.
Do you glue it on? I'm like, no, it's a hook.
Yeah.
Because they actually thought literally like I would open my mouth and like screw it in.
Oh my God,
like,
open your mouth and screw it into your friggin' cheekbone?
Yeah, I'm like, no, man, that's not how it works.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when I first started law school, I had like the Cruella de Vil, like half white, half black hair.
Oh boy.
And then my dean, she pulled me into her office, but it wasn't like that of like she pulled me into her office. It was like, oh, it's the principal's office. She actually wanted to talk to me, and then we had a meeting, and I went, and it was the first time she was seeing me in person. Because prior to that, she'd only read my application. And as soon as I walked into her office, she looked at me and she goes, "Oh, your hair. It's interesting." And I was like, "Say no more." She doesn't like it, but it grew on her.
Yeah, who's your connect, right?
Yeah, right? No, but to be honest with you, like, I feel like people, like, I like it. It forces people to actually look past the way you look and try to get to know you for who you are.
Yeah,
so
for sure. But I mean, there's times where it's like, you just want to be down low and, like, just low key.
Yeah.
At the same time, right? So it's like it's a give and take.
Yeah.
Then you just wear a sweater, you're good.
That's true.
Yeah.
I try not to hide my tattoos. If I'm in court, I'm wearing, like, a suit anyways, but I'm not really doing it with the intention of covering my tattoos. Like, when I was around the office, I would never cover them.
Yeah, same.
And nobody had anything to say about it. I think now it's different. Like, our generation's just so tatted.
It is, but at the same time, like, I just feel like clients, they'll still judge you in a way, too, right? Our generation's fine, but, like, when you're dealing with, like, a 56-year-old person who has that old school mentality, especially like immigrants and stuff, they'll just be like, I don't know, like in Alofkia, right? Like, who's this?
Like, they look at you like you're like a bummy.
Yeah. Or like.
But how though? Tattoos are so expensive. How am I a bum? Explain that to me.
It's the stigma, I guess, attached to it, right?
Yeah, I feel you.
Especially when you have to redo them like multiple times.
I remember when I first saw Adrian in class. Like, this was like our first class together. I saw him outside, and I was like, "Hey, I really appreciate that you're also unconventional looking."
Yeah, I know.
And it was the first conversation we had. Did you think I was crazy?
I had to pause because I was like, is she trying to diss me right now, or is it like a compliment? And then I was like, actually, no, it's a compliment. I was thinking the same thing,
Did you notice my tattoos?
Yeah, because you had like, I saw like half of your ass was fucking like black, right?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so it has like a full back piece probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, all right, say a word. Nice.
That's why I noticed you right away. Like that, I've made a lot of friends that way. I remember one of the most like I guess dissing conversations that I've had about my tattoo was like one of my friends' moms was like, she met me and she was like, "Oh, how long have you wanted to be a lawyer for?" And I was like, "I wanted to be a lawyer my whole life." And she goes, if you knew you wanted to be a lawyer, then why'd you get so many tattoos?
I feel like it's irrelevant, I mean, look, I went to the doctor's office. I think I told you this as well, right?
What made you want to become a lawyer?
I was always interested in the law, and plus my brother's also a lawyer he's 10 years older. But yeah, I even took like these, you can take a law class in was it high school in like grade 10?
Yeah.
Right, where you learn about the Magna Carta, this and that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I took that. It was interesting, and on top of that, like I know both sides of the law because of like, I was a devious,
Devious young.
yeah, exactly. I was malicious, devious, and yeah, I got into a lot of trouble. Right, wrong place, wrong time.
What made you devious?
Just wrong crowd, I guess. Plus, like the antisocial personality disorder. Apparently, I have.
Yeah, is that actually like a thing?
Well, apparently, yeah.
Okay, what does that entail?
It just means that, like, literally, if there's like a guideline of rules that you have to do, like, you don't do them.
Oh, really? Does that mean like you kind of like socially disregard?
Like you're just a rule breaker,
Oh.
AKA, like, I guess they call it a badass. I don't know.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that before. Now they have a name for everything, eh?
Well, they just be like, oh, so like, did you used to like set fires when you were a kid? I'm like, yeah, like in the forest with my friends, like, or the playground. Yeah. They're like, oh, did you ever abuse animals? I'm like, no, but there was a time where like I took my fish out of the tank and like just like let them suffocate for like a minute, which sounds very cruel.
Why would you
But
do
I was
that?
8 years old, man. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I feel like, to be honest with you, I feel like that's not a good marker for antisocial personality disorder, because it's like when you're a kid and you're first trying to figure out like relationships to things and people in general, you don't know, right? You're just trying to test the boundaries of what is and what isn't.
Oh, you neglected your hamster and it died? Okay, yeah, you're a animal
fucking
cruelty.
sociopath. Yeah,
exactly. Real shit.
I left a hamster. I used to have a hamster when I was a kid, and again, this was more my parents' fault than mine. We were in Niagara Falls. I swear to God.
I blame the parents.
We were in Niagara Falls, and we checked out of our hotel, and my dad was like, let's go look at the falls one last time before we leave. And we're like, okay, cool. Like, I'm like, what am I going to do with my hamster? Yeah. My dad's like, oh, just put him in the car. We'll be right back. It'll be like 10 minutes. We'll be right back. I was a kid. I had no idea. So I'm like, okay, put the hamster in the car, right? In the cage, yeah. Put it in the car. We come back. Poor hamster boiled to death.
Oh, no.
I know. I was crying the whole way home. My mom was like CPRing this poor hamster. We put like ice next to him, and we're trying to like put the AC on and revive him and whatever. And nothing worked. He died so quickly. We couldn't even take him anywhere.
Similar story, but mine was with a crab. I had a pet crab.
That's so cool.
I know. Because there was like a flea market like in Pickering, and like there was like a huge, I don't know, like it's kind of like a caged off area, but it was just all these crabs, and like they have their shells like colored with different like designs.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, like imagine like a crab with like a shell like it says like Gucci on it or something. Right? The logos of different things.
Bro, how come they don't get fucking diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder? That's hurting an animal.
Yeah, but the thing is, like the crabs, like
they wanted it.
No, like yeah. No, like when they outgrow the shell, like they go into another one, right? They get bigger ones as they get bigger. Anyways, so we were going to a trip for like 5 days to, I think, Aruba. It was either Aruba or Dominican. This was like years ago. Well, yeah. Anyways, so I thought I left enough water like in his little, habitat, but when I came back, the thing was out of its shell and it was just like dried up, like yeah.
Poor Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say, if you ever saw SpongeBob, like
I love SpongeBob.
When they're like out there in the sun and like
they're all like
yeah, exactly. Do that again, please.
What was I gonna tell you? I have a theory that every devious kid, because I was also a devious kid, there's a reason why they're devious, and I'm sure this is not just my theory. Mm-hmm. But you said yours was because you just didn't like rules, and what else?
I just didn't give a fuck. Like, I don't know. I used to steal a lot.
What was the real reason, though? Like, did you have problems at home?
No, actually, I had a real good childhood, to be honest. I mean, aside from, like, I used to be overweight as a kid, too, right? Okay. Which I don't think would have a correlation. Maybe it does. Who knows? But
were you bullied?
Yeah, but not to the extent. Like, I think every person was bullied, to some degree, right? But there were some... okay, put it this way. Like, there was a song they used to say and be like, they run around me in circles and be like, running on the track, losing some fat, right?
Really?
Yeah, and then as soon as I tried to charge at them, because I'm like triple their size, they'd run off like a pussy, right? And I'd be like,
That's so mean. How old were you?
Like, I was like, I don't know, like grade 3.
Did you later grow up to be a bully? Because I feel like a lot of bullies were bullied.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
But even those people that bullied me, it's like I still chill with them and stuff too. Like they live like in my neighborhood. We play basketball and shit later on. Because like one summer, like from going to grade 6 to grade 7, like I lost like 50 pounds, and then people were like, "Bro, who's this new kid?" I'm like, "Oh, it's me." Crazy. Yeah. They're like, "What did you do? Did you do lipo?" I was like, "Nah, man." But now you can't talk shit because I can catch up to you now.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, what is your opinion about bullying? What do you think about it? How do you think parents should respond? What do you think causes it? What do you think kids should do?
I think bullying is just a natural process of our just human behavior, It's like just what is it? Like the strong overwhelm like the weak in a sense. I guess it's a sense of dominance that they need. So do you
think bullies are strong?
No, but they can, maybe not physically, but they could be mentally and psychologically like.
Or maybe they're just higher up on the social hierarchy.
Yeah, but yet again, I still think it's like more of a need for dominance because I don't think females bully the same way males do. Right?
Males, I feel like, are a lot more physical. Women are a lot more like mental and verbal.
And they're a lot more like behind your back kind of thing. Like guys will be at least upfront about it, from what I've seen,
experienced and seen.
Right? Yeah.
I feel that, but I don't know. I do agree that it's a cry for like dominance, but I think that's exactly why I think bullies are weak people. I think that they're people that have been bullied or are getting bullied at home or something, and then they come to whatever social circles they're in, like school or whatever, and then they try to get that dominance back by bullying other people.
Yeah, because like men need a sense of dominance, right, in their life, whether it's through work, going to the gym, social status, making money, right? And if you don't have that, and that's actually why a lot of people join gangs too, right? Because they don't have that. They need that sense of not only belonging, but they also want to get that sense of dominance, right? Which is actually why I've noticed, because I used to collect. I still do kind of, but I collect and sell like tradable cards and shit, like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic, cool. Yeah. Like during COVID, that was like up in value, right? Like everything else. But then like I noticed these kids like they're playing and like they're not even kids, they're like 25-year-old adults, right? And like they get so like aggressive when it comes to like, oh no, like that was cheating, or like you already said. I'm like, it's a freaking game. Like you're playing a children's card game. Just play for fun or just play. Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, no, because these guys don't have a sense of dominance anywhere else in any aspect of their life, right? And they try to get it. That is like, where they get that, uplifted, feel good feeling.
That is a consistent theme in a lot of different fields of like violence and aggression. Because like even with like domestic violence, I remember reading that like if a man's like men who get fired are a lot more likely to domestically abuse their partners. Or lose their jobs, or lose money, or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere.
Well, especially if they didn't have a father figure growing up, right? I believe.
Did you have a father figure growing up?
Yeah, my parents were together, yeah.
Oh, nice. What does it feel like to be God's favorite?
Right? Actually, no, they did separate for a short time.
I remember when we were at school, and you said you were comfortable talking about this. We were outside, and I was like, hey, I was talking to you, and I can't remember what we were talking about, but you mentioned
dumbing it down, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that we were talking about how bad it is to vape. And we were like, that shit is so bad for you, whatever. And then you were like, yeah, I definitely shouldn't be vaping because my heart stopped, like, not too long ago.
No, I was telling you I was able to drive. And you're like, oh.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. And then I remember, because it was one of our first social interactions, I didn't really want to ask you too much about it. Mm-hmm. But what happened there?
Well, you kind of did ask me about it. You're like, well, what happened? I'm like, my heart just stopped.
Yeah, and then I didn't dig too deep into it.
Well, at the time, I didn't want to give like a wrong first impression, I guess, either, right? But no, long story short, like I had an accidental overdose, right? Mm-hmm. On what was it? Hydromorphone.
What is that?
So it's pretty much like it's an opiate, which is 4 to 8 times more potent than like oxy, right, per milligram.
Is it a downer?
It's a painkiller.
Okay, so it's a downer.
Yeah. And then I mixed, so I was supposed to only take half because they come in 8 milligram shields.
Why did you have it? Was it prescribed to you?
I was prescribed like other painkillers, but that ran out. And then I got these from like my buddy who's like, you know, sells them and stuff. But yeah, so because they come in eights and eight's very strong, like doctors will literally give you like 1 milligram, right? I would like cut it in half and just have like 4. But, you know, I already took Xanax before that, so my mind was kind of boggled. And I knew exactly how much I had because I had like 2 bars of Xanax, which were like, because they don't make bars of Xanax anymore, right? They actually never made bars of Xanax in Canada.
What are bars of Xanax?
Like a Xanax bar.
What is that?
It's like a white bar.
What is Xanax for? Anxiety?
It's a benzodiazepine. Yeah, it's Xanax is like the, I guess like the brand name for the drug alprazolam. Alprazolam is a benzodiazepine, right?
Which is for anxiety.
For anxiety, yeah. It gives you like a calming
Is that
effect.
why you were taking it?
Yeah. So I was taking it for sleep. I think technically I was taking other benzodiazepines for sleep, like Klonopin or clonazepam. That's what it's called. Just a bunch. Just Ativan, clonazepam, Valium, right? I know a lot about benzos, right? Because that was like one of my DOCs, drugs of choice. But yeah, anyways, so I got these Xanax bars that had like 5 milligrams in them when technically they're only supposed to have 2. But I already knew they had 5, right? And I took 2 of them, so that's like 10. And
why? Why did you take 2?
Because I have such a high tolerance to benzodiazepines where, let's say if I never took it, if I took half of one, I'd like knock out in like 2 minutes, right?
Okay.
Well, you get that real good, feel good. It's like a bubbly, tingly sensation, like, you know, like all warm and nice and all that. But that fades away after a while. So I was just taking it for sleep at that point. And then I had a tweaked back. So I was like, all right, well, let me at least take like, you know, half of one. But I guess I was so like zonked out from the bars that like...
From the Xanax,
yeah, that I just took both of the 8 milligrams, right, of the opiates. So what is that? That's 16 milligrams. So that's anywhere from like, I don't know, 70 to like 130 milligrams of like oxy, right? If you do the equivalency. And then, yeah, this was like, I would say Wednesday night going into Thursday morning around 1 a.m. was when I took it. I was eating dinner. Last thing I remember is I just woke up and 2 days later in the hospital in the ER, right?
I want to know this just because I want to know if like there was people around you. Do you were you with family at the time or do you live by yourself?
No, I live in the basement apartment at my parents' house.
Okay, so how did they know that something was going on?
Yeah, I mean, they knew that like I was dabbling back and forth. Just to give you some history, like I've been in like active recovery for the last like since COVID, since I went to rehab back in 2020 August or July. Yeah.
For the same thing.
It was for I'm a poly addict, right? So it was mainly for benzodiazepines at that point because I went from taking like 16 bars a day down to like 4 or 3, but then it gets really hard once you get, you know, down to like the nitty gritty of it, right?
Does it have like withdrawals and stuff?
Yeah. So benzodiazepines have like the worst withdrawals, worse than heroin, I would say. I never tried heroin. Actually, well, synthetic heroin technically is like opiates, right?
Are these all opiates? Everything that you're saying?
So no, benzodiazepines aren't opiates. They're benzodiazepines. That's what they're classified as.
Okay. What are they for?
It's just like just for anxiety, right? So it just gives you that calming sedative effect and euphoric effect. But yeah, that, and then I would dabble with opiates a bit too, and I just couldn't get off of the Xans pretty much, right? So then I went to rehab for it.
And this was when you were how old?
This is, well, I'm 27, something like that.
How old are you right now?
I'm going to be 32 next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was a few years ago.
Yeah. So this is in 2020.
Okay, so you went to rehab.
Yeah, I went to rehab. I was in detox for I think it was like almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? So they told me that like I was the longest person to ever be like in their detox. Like, you know, because like I was literally shaking. I couldn't even eat. Like if I had like a fork, it'd be like a drill like on the plate, like, you know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the thing is, you can't cut benzodiazepines cold turkey either, right? You have to taper off of it slowly by taking other benzodiazepines that are longer acting and stay in your body, right? Xanax is a very short acting benzo, right? And the withdrawals, like if you try to get off of them, they would probably last like for at least 8 months, right? And then even then, you have something called PAWS, which is post-acute withdrawal syndrome.
Okay.
So even if you sober up and you're good to go and you taper, 18 months down the road, you can all of a sudden get withdrawals, right, for a few days.
I've heard that about depression medication.
Yeah, that's I believe serotonin.
SSIs?
No, that's SSRIs you're talking about.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, so selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. But what I'm talking about is serotonin syndrome, which is where if you take too much of something, like it'll cause like a chemical imbalance in your brain where like your serotonin levels are fucked.
So even when you think you're better, months down the road, you can still go through withdrawal.
Yeah, but that's specifically for Xanax, right?
Okay.
And opiates as well, right? But with opiates, you know, you ever see those movies where like you're a heroin addict, they chain you to like, you know, the basement or something, like to the furnace, and then like 5 days later they're better, right? Yeah, Xanax isn't like that, because finally when I got off of it, and I'll get back to our story, right? But finally when I got off of it, and then I was good and all, I relapsed again in October, and I was on like a 6-week binge, and then I quit cold turkey, and man, when I it was like the most painful experience of my life. Like day one, like it didn't get every day it didn't get better. Like it got worse and worse and worse, to the point where it was just like I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't shit, I couldn't do anything, right? Like all I could really do was just like either cry or just pray. And at one point, I kid you not, and I take this back, but I like made a deal with the devil to like literally remove this pain from my body. Like I signed a contract, right? I wrote a contract saying like, you know, I will do X. I give my soul to like the devil. I feel like he helps me out in this situation. I cut my finger, you know, smeared it on there with blood, right? So it's like binding, and then I burned it, right? And then nothing still happened, right? And then I just couldn't handle it. I was literally suffering.
And you were doing this on your own at home? Like you weren't in a facility?
No. This is after I came out of the facility.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Yeah. No.
Actually, you didn't want to go back to the facility to get help?
No, I mean, the facilities are, first of all, they're expensive as fuck, right? Like, it was like, what, 20 grand for 28 days, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they actually said that, oh, you need to be there for 3 months and then do outpatient sober living.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't think I was an addict. I just thought I had a substance problem with this drug.
Xanax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? But yeah, so I've just been, ever since then, you know, then I actually got a sponsor, started going through like something called the Big Book, right?
So were you able to, after that situation where you were trying to quit, were you able to quit?
Well, the way I got off of it was there was an outpatient program where you have to go to like the pharmacy every day, and they'll give you like a dose of like Valium, which is like the longest acting benzodiazepine you can take, because it lasts like 40, 50 hours. So yeah, I'd have to go there every single day, get my prescription, and it was about 6 months to taper off of it, right?
And it worked.
Yeah, and it worked. Yeah, it was great.
Okay, so then you were good for a while, because I want to see what led up to your heart stopping.
Yeah, so then I've just been on and off, just, you know, using relapsing. I finally joined an AA group, right? Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, you know, and there's Cocaine's Anonymous, right? There's one for sex, there's one for everything pretty much, right? But it's all based on the same principles of the Big Book, which is like based on like 12 steps that you have to follow, which are just like guidelines to like, you know, having a higher power and, you know, doing a personal inventory, right? Like that's one of my routines. Like every week I make an inventory of like whatever wrong I did or whomever I have resentments towards, because our minds have a way of tricking us into thinking that like, oh, like, you know, this person wronged me. Like it's an excuse to use because I feel like shit, right? Whether it's a celebration, you want to use. Whether it's something bad, you know, and you're depressed, you want to use, right? So there's always a reason, no matter what it is, right? But yeah, so I was in that, and I still am actually. I go twice a week now. Got a sponsor. Actually started following the steps properly, right? And it takes a while to do it as well, right? Especially when there's that God aspect in it. And a lot of people that go into that program, like, they don't believe in God at all or even a higher power because, you know, they're like, oh, like, you know, F God, like, you know.
Like they've gone through a lot of stuff. And
yeah, like they don't believe in God, or like, actually a lot of them said like, oh, yeah, we used to go to church on Sunday all the time and this and that. And they just, I guess, fell off, right?
Yeah.
Through hardships in their life, right? But I always had like a faith, right? You know, I always believed in like God, right? Something greater than myself, and that's like one of the key things. But anyway, so I had finally, after I think it was I had 3 months, then I relapsed, then I had 4 months, then I relapsed, I had 8 months twice, then I relapsed, and then finally I had a year in August of 2023. Yeah. And then 2024, sorry, because August 2023 was my last relapse. And then, yeah, I had about a year and like 4 months, 5 months. And then I guess because of exam time and all that stuff, and I already have sleeping problems, I started like, you know, buying Xans again. And my buddy actually showed me a website where you can literally buy any kind of drug you want and they deliver it right to your house. Right.
You need new friends.
Yeah, I know. These are law school people too. Like, no, because like, you ever see what's it called? Intervention?
No.
No, on TLC?
No.
Right. Well, I mean, when you think of a drug addict, you think of someone that's like, oh, under a bridge, like, you know, just smells bad, looks bad, dirty, raggedy clothes.
Yeah.
But like, the thing with me is I was a functioning addict, right?
That's the worst.
It is the worst, right? Because like I had relationships, I was making money, I go to school, get good grades, yada yada, but it catches up with you, right? And keep in mind, I was just smoking weed, right? But when I was, I guess at that time, no one really talked about the mental health element to smoking weed for a long duration of time, especially when you do it from a young age, right? They just said like, you know, it's bad for you, but I was like, well, no, this is good. It helps me sleep. I'm eating better. I'm more creative. But those are just all excuses, right? In the long run, it gave me the anxiety, which made me start taking the benzodiazepines.
Weed gave you anxiety?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess the cocaine didn't help either, but, you know, because, like I said, I used to be a club promoter myself as well. So I pretty much just drink. It's weird because, like, you look forward to the weekend, right? And I'm thinking, why? So you can go clubbing? No, it's so you can have an excuse to use, right? So it's like, you know, just drinking at first. And then it's like, all right, well, then let's dabble with cocaine with drinking, right?
I've heard that
or
when
Molly.
You start looking forward to it, that's how you know you have a problem.
Or Molly, too, right? But then I started having panic attacks, right? Around the same time as I was having, like, dabs. You know what dabs are, right?
Is that like
It's like the concentrated THC that's like a wax.
Yeah.
Like you burn it.
It's like a little oily thingy.
Yeah, and like on a rig you burn it. Yeah. So my buddy back when he used to work at No Frills, he had it. Like he was a big pothead back. You know, he still kind of is, but he would have that, and like you smoke one hit of that, it's like you had 4 blunts to your face. Right?
Yeah, I've heard.
That's crazy. Yeah, you get messed up, and then.
So that triggered your anxiety.
And you know, the cocaine, yeah. And then that's kind of where I started taking like antidepressants for a decade almost straight, right? And benzodiazepines. And then anyways, back to the actual story. So I used, you know, ate my dinner, and then next thing I knew, I woke up 2 days later.
this is when your heart stopped. You're telling the story of when your heart stopped.
Yeah.
Okay, so recap: you took 2 bars of Xanax, and then you took 10.
I took 2 bars of Xanax, which had 5 milligrams in each of them of the drug.
Okay.
All right. And then I took 16 milligrams of hydromorphone.
Okay.
Which is what they give to literally people that are dying of cancer.
That's crazy.
Right?
Okay.
Like in hospice, for example, right?
And then you sat down to eat dinner.
Yeah. Because I don't want to take that shit on an empty stomach, right?
Yeah.
Thinking like, oh, yeah.
I'm being responsible.
Yeah, right? But yeah, I don't know. It's and then I just woke up 2 days later. I woke up, I couldn't hear anything. I was deaf, right? Well, actually, hold on. Let me go back a second. When apparently, because I was unconscious, right? Apparently, like 9 paramedics came, like 6 police officers, 2 fire trucks, and you think it's just for like trying to like save like a family out of a burning building or something, right? And from what my mom tells me, she said that, you know, out of those like 9 paramedics, you know, 6 of them gave up, and one of them was like, all right, just call the time, right? Because because when they found me, like I had no pulse, right? And 2 of them were like, no, we gotta administer more Narcan and keep doing CPR. And then they finally found a very faint pulse, right? And then, you know, they ripped up all my clothes. Well, they did it already. I was just in my underwear, you know, and then just threw me into the back of the ambulance, you know, half naked in the cold ass weather in Canada. And my mom was like, she's like, he's gonna catch a cold, you know.
Oh,
I know, right? It's like of all the things, but it's you know, it's cute.
Yeah, super cute.
Yeah, but yeah, then I woke up, you know, 2 days later, and then half my body, like I couldn't feel anything. My fingers are still tingling, and numb.
Why is that?
Because of the lack of oxygen to my brain, right? The doctors even said that, like, even if he wakes up, we don't know the damage to his brain. Because, like, I could have woken up with, like, just cognitive, you know, some negative cognitive effect, right? Where, like, I could have been blind. I could have just been on, like, disabled for the rest of my life.
You have some angels on your shoulder, eh?
Yeah, because, here's the thing. So, if you want to hear a God story, all right, because I don't think this is a coincidence. The only reason why I'm alive today is because of my mom, right? Or else I'd be dead. I kid you not, she doesn't wake up to go to work probably till around 9:30 or 10, right? And she randomly woke up at 8 in the morning because she had a dream that my family doctor was crying over a younger version of myself that died, and he was at the funeral. And my mom woke up and she was like, well, that's a very bizarre dream. And I guess because the vents in my room like go up to her vents in her room, she kind of heard like weird sounds like someone's trying to like gasp for air, like like that. Little did I know, that's like the last breath I was taking, right? So she went down to investigate, and she just sees me like literally in this position, just like that, right? Not even laying down, and like, you know, she's just like, hey, Adrian, wake up. And then, you know, slapped me, nothing happened. You know, my dad came down, and my mom just quickly went into like, you know, just savior mode, right? Call 911, hurry up. Like, and then like they had him on speaker, all right, administer CPR, you know, telling them what to do. And then now they actually practice on each other, right? In case a lot of stuff. But yeah, and then, because honestly, if she didn't have that dream, they never check up on me, right?
This is the day that you had the incident with your heart, right? Where your heart stopped.
Yeah, this is the incident where I died.
Yes, and your mom randomly had a dream and woke up and found you.
And
wow.
Yeah, and I would have been, and my heart stopped literally, maybe, or I stopped breathing, right? Your heart stopped, maybe 2-3 minutes after that dream when she woke up.
That's crazy.
Right, so she never had that dream. She just would have got up, gone up to work, come back like at 9, and she would have found me there in my room.
That's so crazy.
And my ex actually also had a dream, and apparently in the Greek culture or their mythology, if you have a dream of like sexual body parts, it means that like it's like a sign that something bad is happening to your partner. So she also had a dream similar to that same day, that same night, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, one is a coincidence, but two, or one might be a fluke, but two,
angels protecting you.
Yeah, and then when I woke up, it's like I had everything was clean, like the CAT scan, CT scan, blood work. I was in the ICU for about 8 days. And if you've ever been in the ICU, it's just horrible. You just hear horrible sounds, right? Of other people. I couldn't even like get up to freaking go to the bathroom, right? I didn't even know I had a catheter on. I'm like, what the hell is this? Right? Yeah. I was unconscious the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's just awkward because you can't even take a shit without the nurse just looking at you.
Watching you, they're monitoring you, right?
I'm like, all right, let me just put the trash can in front of me,
Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah. And then, so I was in there and,
that's wild.
But for the grace of God, I got out the ICU. They put me into the ward for a couple of days just because they wanted to check my heart.
Did they believe you when you said that it was an accidental overdose?
They asked me multiple times because they wanted to know whether or not I was like self-harming.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, and I even told them like, listen, I know like how much I should and shouldn't take, right? Like trust me. And if I wanted to kill myself, I would have taken a dose where there'd be no coming back from. Mm-hmm. And even the doctors were shocked because they said like the reason why I was in the ICU for so long was because they're worried about my heart. Your heart enzymes, like, and don't quote me on this either, right? People are probably gonna Google this and be like, this guy's just full of shit.
We don't do any research, okay? Yeah, we're just speaking from our experience, right?
This is all hearsay, right?
Yeah.
but they said that like your heart enzymes should be like below 50, right? 30 to 50. People that have an overdose and the ones that tend to die are usually in the 500 range.
Oh wow.
Mine was at 1200. Yeah, 1200. So it was almost double the amount of what someone would need to die. So that's how hard my heart was pumping to keep me alive, right?
That's a good heart right there.
Yeah, and even the nurses are like, did you used to like work out and stuff or do track? I'm like, well, I did MMA for like 7 years, and I was fat and I used to run. Yeah.
Did you ever treat your heart?
Huh?
Did you ever treat your heart for looking out for you?
Yeah, right.
Take him out to dinner.
I know, right?
But that's wild. I'm really, really happy that you're here. That's a crazy experience, and I'm really happy that you felt comfortable enough to share that.
Yeah.
I was really, really looking forward to you sharing that because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have or will at some point deal with things like this. For you personally, what do you think was the reason why you ever even got into, like, taking Xanax or whatever?
Okay, well,
I know you said a little bit of it was the anxiety caused by the weed and the cocaine and whatever.
Hold that thought for a second, because it doesn't end there. The story gets a little juicier.
Oh, Jesus.
So finally, after 9 days, I finally get discharged.
Okay.
And I'm like, yes, I get to go home. Thank you. Right? Because I didn't shower for 9 days.
Yeah.
Right? And I had gel in my hair. I was like, oh, I felt like
gross.
Disgusting. It was, oh, God. Even thinking about it, that one shower when I came home, it was like the best thing.
Yeah,
ever.
I know those ones.
I was like, oh, my nails were long at that point too, so I was really, scratching the scalp. It's like, yes, I was like an orgasm in my head. I loved it,
Yeah.
But yeah, so we pack up. I'm on my way out the emergency door exit. Literally, like I'm a meter away. And then I sit down so my ex-girlfriend can go bring the car over so we can put the stuff in the car. Because obviously we brought extra clothes, boxes of insurers and, Persian moms, right?
Yeah.
Bringing literally everything, soup. And then I get a seizure. Right? I get a seizure and the last thing I hear is my mom yelling out, screaming, help, help. And then I wake up again, and I'm on a gurney, and I'm back in the hospital again.
Oh, my God. You almost made it out.
Yeah, I know. I was like, no, I was almost free. Yeah, I know. And then that's how I lost my license, right? Because they have to legally report it if you have a seizure, like the doctors have to.
Yeah.
Because it's not safe to drive, right?
Yeah.
But so yeah, and then they checked everything, and it seemed fine. And the psychiatrist, I believe it was psychiatrist, yeah, neurologist, sorry, believed that it was because of benzodiazepine withdrawal. Because these stupid doctors, and this is how bad like the Canadian healthcare system is, right? Everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, come to Canada, like our healthcare is so amazing."
Yeah, you're not the first person to discuss this on my podcast.
Yeah, actually, someone died recently. I think a few weeks ago, while in the waiting room.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. So, and I actually looked over the notes, right? Because I'm doing personal injury law, so I was looking at all the clinical notes that the doctors talked about. The first doctor said that like maybe we should taper him off of the benzo so he doesn't get withdrawals. The second doctor's like, well, the withdrawals don't seem that bad. He didn't say that there's no withdrawals. It's not that bad. And, the neurologist pretty much said that like, yeah, the seizure was probably due to
withdrawals.
Yeah, from the benzos. And they had my medical history of everything I was taking, every medication I was taking. And, they should know that, alcohol and benzos are the two drugs, or if you stop cold turkey, you can get a seizure and die.
Yeah.
Right? And funny enough, to get off of alcohol, you have to take benzos.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, but it's not to the degree where you would get a seizure from not taking the benzos, right? But yeah, so it was just, I don't know. Ever since then, it's just how to look at things a little bit more differently now,
How so?
I'll be honest. Like in my 20s, I had a lot of depression, right? And like I didn't care whether I lived or died. Like I just woke up and I'm like, all right, if I get hit by a car today, I die. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. All right. I just had this void in my body, and I think that's the reason why I was prone to using, because I just felt like, I wasn't living up to my potential. Not my parents, like what they wanted from me, because like they didn't care what I did, right? But I just felt like I was needed for something greater, right? And I don't know, it's just a feeling some people get.
And you felt like you weren't fulfilling that?
Yeah, and like I just felt like there was something I needed to do in life that I wasn't able to do or I haven't done yet, and that put me in a depressed situation. I just lost my train of thought. Jesus Christ.
You were explaining to me that when you were younger, you had depression.
Yes.
Because I was asking you about what got you into taking drugs.
Yes. So, yeah, my 20s, well, I guess from 23-ish. Well, actually, no, because when I was 20, I couldn't leave the house for a year because that's how bad my anxiety was. Mm-hmm. Like, I couldn't even go to the movies, right?
Yeah.
Or stay in line to grab something from, like, H&M. I had to get my boy, can you just go grab that for me and I'll pay you after, right? That's how bad it was. And that's if you even got me into the mall. And that's kind of what caused me from going from, like, an extrovert into an introvert, right? A popular club promoter, everyone knew me in Toronto, to, I always just flop on people. Yo, come on, party. Not tonight, man.
Did something happen, or was it just...
I think it was a bunch of things that happened. It was like, the multiple arrests that I had, right? Which, even when I remember that my mom even told me, she's crying, like in the morning I woke up, she's like, oh, they just called and they're gonna arrest you. And I'm like, okay, I'm going back to bed. Like, we just didn't care, right? But yeah, I think, when you get arrested like 7 times in the span of like 4 years, it does put a toll on you, right? Especially to your parents. And
did it make like your family situation? Did you feel like you were causing like family tension?
Oh, 100%.
Did that make you feel guilty?
Oh yeah. But you know what? As part of the 12 steps, like step 8 is making a list of all the people you have harmed, and we're promptly ready to like make amends to them. And then step 9 is like made amends to such people wherever possible, except to do so would injure them or others, right? So you don't want to tell your best friend, like I fucked your wife, for example, right? Because that would kind of ruin the relationship that they have, right? But then again, maybe you're doing him a favor because, his wife's cheating on him, right?
Yeah.
I'm giving an example,
That's
hypothetical. But no, I didn't. I mean, I felt guilty, but I don't feel guilt anymore about that stuff because you learn that that's just it's a disease of the mind, addiction, right? People that say it's not a disease, it's a choice, it's bullshit, right? I never had a problem with alcohol, right? Surprisingly, even though I shouldn't be drinking it, because I know if I drink to a certain point, then those barriers and those safeguards I have in my brain will come down, and then I'll start looking.
It makes you more susceptible to taking drugs.
Yeah, I'll start looking for coke or freaking, whatever. Yeah. Right, and yeah, so I just try avoiding all mind-altering substances altogether, although sometimes it's a bit hard. But yeah, the hard shit, no more. And it made me just, because my 20s were just so miserable and horrible, I would always look at things negatively, like, oh, why me, right? Like the pity party, like, like what did I do in life to deserve this, right? So, the glass was like half empty for me all the time. And then it switched over to, all right, the glass is kind of half full. But then after the overdose, I say the glass is always full, right? I don't even think of that saying of being half full or half empty even applies anymore because it's irrelevant. Yeah. Right? It's like if you're getting ready to go to school or you're going somewhere and someone says, oh, it's raining today. All right. You don't give it more than a second thought. All right,
cool. I still have to go.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it's just like, no matter how bad the day is, I know it could always be worse.
Yeah, for sure. Right? I actually, I don't know if you watched or not, but I had my tattoo artist Coop on the podcast. Right before you, and he was actually talking about similar things. He also was not a great kid, did a lot of fucked up shit. He was homeless for a little while. He struggled with a lot of things too. And he said one thing to me.
I was a great kid actually, but yeah, go on.
No, in terms of I don't know, getting arrested in 7 times in 4 years.
Okay, but those are all hold on. Those are all for breach of probation. Oh, okay. Simply because of the weed, and then they legalize it 3 years later.
No, I'm just joking. I mean, just even me, just having run-ins with the law, or just being lost, or doing things that most people don't engage in. He said something to me. He was like, it doesn't. He's like, I don't define things as being right or wrong, or being good or bad. Good or bad, not right or wrong. And I've heard that before from a couple of my other friends too. And I actually thought about it, and I was like, what is the utility in describing things as good or bad? What is the utility of, it was a bad experience, it was a good experience? What is the utility in that?
It's very subjective too, right? What's good for you might be bad for someone else. What's bad for you might be good for someone else.
Yeah, right? That. But also, it's what? Why does it matter whether it's something that happens is good or bad? You still have to do what you have to do. You have to overcome it. You have to, you know what I mean? And it's thinking about it as a bad thing is only gonna make you.
You attract it.
Yeah.
Right.
You're spiritual too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Am I playing footsies with you? Sorry.
It's okay. My slippers are fuzzy. So
I thought it was the carpet.
But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no,
sometimes there's no utility to that conversation that you have with yourself of, this is good, this is bad.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, look, I have to do daily rituals every day, right? In order for me to maintain not only my sanity, but my sobriety, right? So, first things first is as soon as I wake up in the morning, even if I have to go and take a piss, I'll hold it in. Well, depends how bad it is, right? I'll drop it on my knees, and I'll just put go on my bed and pray. First things first, right? And I usually start off the prayer with gratitude, right? I have a little bit of a rhyme that I say. It's dear God, thank you for another day where my heart is my heart is beating, my lungs are breathing, and my eyes are seeing.
That's amazing. Right? I love that.
And if it's the summertime, I'll also say and the sun is beaming or something like that. Right?
Yeah.
But then again, I don't want to associate, the gratitude being with weather, right?
Yeah.
Because people take that for granted, right? Seeing, and their heart beating or breathing, life's tough, right? And then I'll just, ask for just strength to carry out his own will, because I lost the privilege of using my own will, right? Because my will leads to my destruction. So I have to go through God's will, right? Which is pretty much anything that Adrian wants to do, I have to do the opposite, right? But yeah.
But that takes so much strength, man, just hearing what you're going through and just the fact that you chose to, even after you were out of rehab and you relapsed, you chose to do it again and try to get clean again. That's crazy, because I think about, like, the pain that you're describing, and you're not the first person that I've heard that from. It's like, I would fold.
You know what? That's why they say in the program, keep coming back, right? Because, like, relapsing is a part of the journey, right? There's some people, they come in and they get it right the first time. There's some people that get it right after the 100th time.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing is, even after my relapse, I still have all that knowledge from the last, like, 4 years, right? You know, I was at one point where I was sponsoring people too. I had sponsees.
Oh, that's dope.
Right? And that actually is the greatest thing, because that's like the step 12, right? Is, you know, passing on that message.
Did it help? Did having sponsees help you stay sober?
Absolutely, because you go over, first of all, it's a reiteration of everything that you learned back to yourself, right? But then you hear their issues, and it's like a remember when kind of moment, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I was in that position, I felt like crap, you know, couldn't breathe, couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I remember when I got my appetite back and I had, like, just a regular, like, I think chicken sandwich and mayo. I was like,
this is the greatest thing.
Like, oh, gee, God, thank you. Oh, so good. Sweet. Yeah, I remember I was at work too. I was like, it's so good.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to, like, do you go to therapy, first of all?
Yes. I used to. I'm actually waiting. I'm on a wait list right now for an addictions counselor from the hospital, just for checkups. But I did do therapy at one point. What kinds of therapy? There's different forms of therapy, right?
Yeah.
Technically, going to the gym is a form of therapy.
That is true. But you know what, though? Like, they say that, like, this is what I was going to ask you about. Like, I'm obsessed with, like, I've talked about him so many times on my podcast. At this point, guys, please tag this man so maybe one day he'll come on my podcast. I'm obsessed with Gabor Mate.
How did I know you were going to say that?
I'm so obsessed with him.
Oh, I love that guy.
And he's the best. And he always talks about, you know this, then.
He talks about addiction, yeah.
Yeah, that's the main thing he always talks about. And he always talks about, like, there's always, like, an underlying pain. And until you address that pain, the addiction is just the symptom.
It was on his TED Talk, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, where he says that, like, yeah, exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And I actually listened to that video while I was in the ICU, and, like, I started crying. I heard it before, but I was listening to it again, right? But yeah, because look, drugs and alcohol aren't the issue. They're just temporary solutions to the issue.
To numb the pain.
Right. Because think about it. If you're able to, because I had no problem stopping, right? My problem was, you know, maintaining that, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, you obviously know Einstein from what you told me, right? Yeah. You know that definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So if I quit, right, multiple times, but I keep going back to it, is the drugs and alcohol the problem, or am I the problem? Because I keep going back to it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But I like the way that Gabor Mate puts it. First of all, he has such a calm, soothing voice that's like, come here, give me a hug. Like,
yeah, it's like a bedtime story.
Like, I know, I want to just hug him and, like, cry in his arms because he's such a fucking empathetic person. But, like, he
reminds me of Yogi Bear.
He's the best. I love him. I'm so obsessed with this man. It's crazy. I've been listening to him and reading up on him and watching all of his, like, interviews since I was a kid, you know, since I was, like, first year of university. Yeah, like, I love this guy. And one thing that I loved that, like, really clicked well, because, like, I'm, like, you know, we're Persian, right? Like, for me, I don't know how it was for you, but for me, my parents never gave me proper education about addiction. It was just like, oh, like, if you're an addict, you're a failure. You know what I mean? If you don't, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they never went beyond why people become addicts.
Well, I don't think they knew either, right?
That was also their education and what their parents told them. So I remember the first time I heard this, I heard Gabor Mate, because I had addicts in my family and like alcoholics and all of that. And I was like, there has to be more to it. You know what I mean? So I remember I watched that video of him and he was like, he's like, addiction is not the disease. Addiction is a symptom of whatever the underlying issue is.
Which is yourself.
Any kind of pain you're trying to mask, anything that you're trying to run from.
Like that void I was telling you about, right? That emptiness I felt inside.
So that's why I asked if you go to therapy. Have you since been working on that void, or?
Yeah, I have a lot more fulfillment in my life, just because I'm content with who I am, right? And like I said, people say like, oh, like, what's your rock bottom, right? My rock bottom is death. Right, because people will say like, "Oh yeah, well, my rock bottom was when I went to jail, or when I got a DUI, right, or when I lost like 6 figures or something or whatever." Mm-hmm. That's when they stopped, or when I got divorced or something. I didn't get divorced, by the way, guys.
He's available, ladies. Yeah. You are, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, am I gonna get a very, very strongly worded DM from your girlfriend later tonight?
Oh boy, yeah. I don't know, man. We're in a very weird position, so who knows?
Yeah.
We're technically no, we're not dating.
Do you think that you being, because you said when all of this was going down, you were in a relationship, right?
Yeah, I was with her for 7 years. Yeah.
Do you think were you coming out of that relationship at the time when all of this was unfolding, or were you in that and then a little out of it?
I mean, like I was telling you before, like she has a lot of PTSD from things that I did, and I apologize for that. But a lot of that was from me using, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to get too much into it either because it's not fair to her.
Sure.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to.
You also want to respect her privacy and.
Yeah, of course, right?
For sure.
She was a great girlfriend. Don't get me wrong, but unfortunately, I shattered whatever was left of her heart, pretty much, and it was just this very toxic cycle where, she would disrespect the hell out of me, right? Put me down, belittle me, and I kept telling her, I'm like, babe, like, I'm in active recovery and I have mental health issues, right? It's like you're you're literally giving me a loaded gun, and then you're blaming me for why I shot myself, for example, right? Or you're pushing me to the edge of a cliff, right? Well, no, but you're the one that's doing it. Like, that's your choice if you want to jump. Yeah. Like, yeah, but you're not helping. You're aggravating the situation, right? She gets that now, right? After I couldn't handle it anymore, and like I ended it because I needed it for my own mental health.
Yeah, but I bet it's rough being in that position too, like loving somebody who's struggling with something like you.
Well, 100%.
Do you think that being in that relationship helped you, or maybe like it was not a good idea to be in a relationship at the time when you were going through what you were going through?
Well, the thing is, I never knew the degree of what I was going through until we were like 2 years in, right?
Yeah.
Just because I was just smoking weed at that point, and I told her, I have like depression and anxiety, and I talked to therapists and doctors before, and they said, oh, just stop smoking weed. If you're gonna take antidepressants, don't smoke weed. Yeah. But I still smoke weed, right? That's why it didn't work. But I don't know. It could have gone both ways.
Yeah, by the time you were already like 2 years into the relationship, you start having the problems. It's like, what do you do at that point? Like break up?
Oh, we had problems like probably 3 months into it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's toxic, eh?
Well, you know what? It's because I was never really like a long-term relationship kind of guy. The longest was like 6 months, I think. So I think.
But you were with her for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Exactly. But I think that's because. So first of all, like I'd always have all these girls from my past, friends, whatever. I was very flirtatious, right?
Yeah.
Like like the kiss emoji kind of thing. All right, see you tonight. Wink, wink, kiss, kiss.
Yeah, flirty.
I was like, a flirty kind of guy. But doesn't mean I want to bang him or anything. Well, at least I don't think so.
But it crosses the boundaries of what's acceptable when you're in a relationship.
Exactly. But it's not. But she'll go through those text messages from like 4 years ago before I even knew her, and she'd like be like, "Okay, well, you're still talking to this person, right? As like a friend, but like you're talking to her in a different way before."
Yeah.
Right. I get if I hooked up with her, sure. Like, yeah, it's kind of I get her perspective on that. Right. I wouldn't want my girlfriend to like be talking to people that like she banged. Right.
Yeah.
Like on a daily basis or on a week, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just
sounds like overall there was like trust and security lacking in that relationship.
There was,
and it just manifested itself in a lot of different ways.
150%.
Yeah.
It was. Unfortunately, yeah, it just didn't. She always told me, she's like, "Oh, I guarantee you, like, this is a couple years back, because there was a point where we broke up like literally every week, you know?
Oh, that's toxic.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And how am I supposed to take it when she says, "All right, I'm done," and she hangs up the phone? I take that as a breakup, all right?
Yeah.
But
I think we've all been in situations like that, to be honest.
Yeah, and it was my fault because I kept thinking like, you know what, it's my fault. I should, and she's older than me too, right? So like she's turning 34 this year, right? And yeah, she's a Cancer. So,
Cancers are the best.
Yeah, 7/11. That's how I remember her birthday.
Yeah, you're lucky. That's easy to remember.
I know. It took me a while.
Are you guys still friends?
Okay, so I mean, she can't have me in her life as a friend because, you know.
She's also dealing with her own situation.
No, that's how she is, right? She's like, she needs to just completely just either be with me or not with me.
I get that.
And I understand that, right?
What about you? Do you want her in your life as a friend, or you think it's better if you just focus on what you're doing right now?
The problem is, you know, I was even telling her, like, when we spoke last week, we still... we're trying to see if we can even reconcile the relationship, right?
Yeah.
You know, I was telling her, I'm like, this whole time we're trying to fix, because I was going to propose to her in before I relapsed, right? Like I was literally like green shopping and everything, right? She wanted a year sobriety. I gave her a year sobriety, but then I don't know, it just got toxic, and I just felt kind of pressured at that point too.
Yeah.
Right. Because she's getting older, she wants kids. You know, I'm still in school.
And you're also going through your own journey.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, well, even if I finish school, start working, make more money than I was before, now it's time to enjoy my life a bit, right? Yeah. But for her, it's like, sure, you know, I'll have a family with you, whatever. But I wasn't like super eager, but I wanted to do it. Like I loved her.
Because you loved her.
Yeah, of course, right? And plus, when I met her, when I was 25 and she was 27, she told me, she's like, the one thing she wants in life is to have a family, right? And when I was 25, I thought, okay, well, I'd be a practicing lawyer by 30, right? But life gets in the way, though, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, like,
but also, like, people think when you become a practicing lawyer, all of a sudden you're bawling. And it's like, no, that's where shit goes downhill, actually. Because that's when those loan payments and those fucking student loans start raining in. And the jobs you're getting are entry-level positions. It's like, people don't get that. Like, same with my family. They thought once I became a lawyer, they're like, yo, she's bawling. Call her, ask her. And I'm like, nah.
Unless you're, like, in, like, a very, like a major law firm or something like that, where they start you off on a really good salary. But the thing is, like, I was already making, like, more money than like, most of the lawyers at our firm anyways, right? Because, like, personal injury law has those perks, right? So, yeah. Like,
so she wanted to get married. You didn't know how you felt about it. You felt pressured.
She wanted to get married. I agreed. But then I told her, I'm like, you know, or she even told me, she's like, oh, like, our relationship's kind of in a rough spot right now because we're always arguing. I'm like, well, what difference does that make? We're always arguing, right?
That makes a huge difference.
I know, but still, like, then what was the point of even, like, trying to get married, right?
Yeah.
If that's what you're going to say. And I don't know, like, there was a point where she told me, you know, from my last relapse of August of 2023, she's like, all right, you know, I'm not going to try anymore in the relationship. You have to try. And
I've been there.
And I told her, listen, like, it takes two to tango. Like, one person just can't do it. if you want a successful relationship, like we both, I know you're trying, but at the same time, like both of us have to.
But you know what, though? I have been exactly where she is, where she said that, oh, I'm done trying, now you have to try. Because it's like when you're with a partner and like you do so much and you try so much and it constantly feels like you're the only one that's working on it, you get to a point where you're like, all right, bro, I'm done. If you still want to salvage this relationship, show me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I show her in my own way, right? But I don't know, like, the thing is, she'd always look at the things I didn't do and wouldn't look at the things I did do, whereas I do the opposite. Like, I would ignore the bad things she'd do, and I'd look at the good.
The good things, yeah.
Right? But anyways, as I was saying, like, this whole time, like, we were talking about getting married and our relationship and this and that, and I'm like, yeah, but you want to obviously be with someone you want to marry your best friend, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, but are we even friends? Like, are we defined even as friends? Because friends don't treat each other like that.
Yeah.
Let alone a couple.
Yeah.
Let alone people that want to get engaged.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, we have to actually start off as just being friends. Can we even be friends?
Yeah. That's an important question.
Right? Because if we can't even be friends, then how are we gonna
have anything more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's not even friends with benefits. That's just benefits with a downside. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, sometimes it just comes down to like, do you even like your partner? It's not about loving them. It's like, do you even like them? Like, do we even like each other anymore? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been in those situations too. Honestly, like, it's hard to say whenever I hear like people tell me about relationships like that, because I have been there myself. It's so hard to draw a clear boundary of like, again, what's bad and what's good, because relationships are so nuanced and so many things play into each other to make what ends up happening. Like, I'm sure it was a cycle of her trying and you not trying and then you trying and she's lost hope and then it's just this big mess.
No, absolutely.
So right. I get that. You know. It's okay though, like, you know, shit happens for a reason. You circle back and
yeah. And she even told me, she's like, oh, like, look, I guarantee you're gonna be a 10 times better partner to your next girlfriend. And I'm like, yeah, and I guarantee you're gonna be a 10 times better partner to your next boyfriend or whatever, because you're not gonna put him down, right? Like, I don't know. As a man, it's like I can't be with someone that doesn't respect me, right? Mm-hmm. And then, you know, she probably feels the same way as well, right? Mm-hmm. We're both like, she's not submissive in that sense, mm-hmm. right? And you always need like one partner that is submissive compared to you being, you know, like the leader role.
I'm probably the wrong person to talk to about this because, to be honest with you, I feel like those things go hand in hand. You know what I mean? I feel like you give someone reasons to respect you, and then they do, which in turn makes you want to give them more reasons to respect you.
No, I don't mean submissive like, oh, like you're my bitch, but I mean like...
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I
like,
know what you're saying.
You always need like someone that's the...
like the yin and yang. You need someone to, you know...
Yeah.
To trust and follow and
someone to... Why can't I even think of the word right now? Opposite of submissive.
Dominant.
There you go. You can't have two dominant people because you just bump heads.
Clash, yeah.
You know?
Clash. I get that. But it's also like a lot of situations where you feel like you lose faith. I'm telling you as a woman, like when you feel like you're losing faith in your man when they are doing things to either betray your trust or not demonstrate that they're a good leader, it makes you become a little bit more hardened and less submissive.
No, she was always like that.
Yeah, maybe other people. Who knows? Maybe
she fist fight her brother if she wanted to. Like, you know, like.
I'm like that too. I'm a little bit more on the dominant side myself. I like to fist fight my brothers.
Yeah, like the stories I could tell you, but I'm not trying to.
Anyways, thank you so much for being here. I love you. I appreciate you sharing your journey with us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. You know, it's a pleasure.
Loves. And I'm going to post Adrian's Instagram in the bio in the description, or maybe on the screen. I don't know. Maybe here or like something like that. Mm-hmm. And you guys can follow him if you'd like. See his journey. I don't know. Make friends with him. Fuck, he's a cool guy. I don't fucking know why you'd want to follow him. I follow him. He's dope. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I spread a lot of positivity, right? So...
It's just, I feel like when you tell people, like, to follow someone, they assume that you're like, oh, follow him. He does X, Y, and Z. He's just a cool, regular person. If you want to fucking know him the way I know him.
Yeah, if you want to follow me. If not, it is what it is. I really, don't let that bother me.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.